Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. Welcome to the June 26th, 2026 Connecticut Paid Leave Finance and Audit Committee meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. The time is now 9 a.m. Stephanie, would you please take attendance?
Yes, thank you. Adrian Cochran will not be joining us. Andrea Comer.
Present.
Good morning. Ellen McKitterick will not be joining us. Mike Soltis.
Present.
Holly Williams.
Present.
And Melissa Gibran.
I'm here.
Good morning. Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank the members of the public who are joining us this morning. We have three set of meeting minutes that we're going to approve in what I hope is kind of rapid succession. So the first is I'd like to ask for a review of the March 27th, 2026 meeting minutes and ask if there's any corrections or discussion. All right, seeing none, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Thank you for the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, seeing none, the motion carries. We're moving on to a review of the meeting minutes from our April 24th, 2026 meeting. Are there any corrections or any discussion? I'm not seeing any. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Mike abstains.
Thank you, Mike. All right. The motion carries. Our final stack of minutes is for, I'd like to ask for a review of the May 22nd, 2026 meeting minutes. Are there any corrections or discussion? All right, not seeing any. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? All right, not hearing any, then the motion carries. Thank you all for moving some of that old business off of our plate. And now, Dave, I'm going to turn it over to you to provide an update on the audit.
Thank you, Holly. Good morning, everybody. Going to share my screen. Please let me know when you can see it.
See your screen.
All right, all right. So this morning, I want to give everybody an update on the audits that are currently going on at the authority. For those of you who've been around, some of this, or most of this actually won't be new to you, but I figured I'd give everybody an update just to let them know what's happening and a few details behind it. So the first audit that's going on is the financial statement audit, and that happens annually, and that's an audit of appropriately our financial statements, specifically our balance sheet and income statement, and that's as of the fiscal year ended June 30, 2026, and that is on an accrual basis. So the financials I normally present are on a cash basis. The accounting rules, GAAP and GASB, require them to be on an accrual or earned basis. So we convert everything over to that methodology. The audit will be performed by Whittlesey. This is their third year performing the audit for us. I mention that because that means next year we'll be having an RFP, request for proposals, as we're required to every 3 years. In terms of where we are with the audit, preliminary work has begun. We really don't start diving into the heavy work till late July, August, and September, in time to present to this committee at the October meeting, and then to the board of directors after that. This year, there is some new accounting pronouncements from GASB. It doesn't change the numbers or how they're calculated. It's mostly in terms of presentation, mostly for the management discussion um, that happens at the beginning of the management discussion and analysis, i.e. the MD&A, that happens at the beginning of the financials. There's more guidance in terms of structure of what's presented and where. Um, and they're really specifically looking for uh, the whys to why things happen and change, which we've actually already had in our prior financial statements that just made that more of a mandatory thing to do. So we're working with Whittlesey to make sure that we comply with the new MD&A requirements. But other than that, there's really not much. Some slight changes to how the income statement is presented. But again, none of the numbers are going to change as a result of the pronouncements. So that's the financial statement audit. The second audit that's happening is what we like to call the compliance audit. And that is a biennial audit that appropriately happens every 2 years. Uh, that is performed by the Auditors of Public Accounts, or the APA, a Connecticut state agency. And their focus is not uh, necessarily on the financial aspect of the authority. It's if we're complying with our regulations, our policies, our practices and procedures, and do we have the internal controls in place to support that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And so that's what they look at. And they audit. And so since they only come around every 2 years, they audit 2 years at the same time. So they're auditing fiscal years 2024 and 2025. So they're a couple of years behind the financial statement audit. Work has begun on that audit, and we're in the what I like to call the ask and provide phase. The APA asks for information and documentation. We provide it. They have questions on said documentation. We provide the answers. So that's where we are right now. We're currently current with the information they've been asking for. No early indications yet of any findings or anything like that. But having said that, the report is expected by the end of this calendar year. And when it's ready, we'll certainly let this committee and the board of directors know the results of that. So that's the audit summary in a nutshell of what's going on. I'm happy to take any questions at this time if anybody has some.
Thank you, Dave, for updating us on that. And I don't see any questions or comments. We're going to now shift to a budget review of spending to date.
Okay. Before I put anything on the screen, I just want to mention that, as Erin mentioned, I think it was at the last board meeting, we are moving to be compliant with the accessibility, let's say that slowly, the accessibility uh, requirements that the state is requiring, and is moving to be mandatory uh, about a little less than a year from now. But we're getting an early start on that now. And so when we were moving to make our documents accessible, we also use it as an opportunity to say, well, how can we better present the information? So as you're all very well familiar with, I would put the financials up on the screen, I'd bounce around and I'd show a few things, which for all of you, you've been seeing this for a while now. So you knew where the numbers were coming from, and that was okay. But we decided to condense the information to make a more cleaner presentation, so there's less of that going on. So that's what I'll be presenting today. So if you're looking at it and going, this is way different than what I've memorized that Dave has been doing for years now, that's why. So here we go.
Can see your screen, Dave.
Okay, great. Okay, so we are going to start with our operating activity as we always do. So the operating activity for the month of May was a negative $1.3 million. That resulted in a approximately $400,000 positive variance to budget for the month. Our typical operating expenses still remain the usual. It was payroll, contact center, and outreach. That were the significant ones that made up the $1.4 million of our operating expenses. And as you can see, payroll was $1,041,000, contact center was $137,000, and outreach was $102,000. No really significant negative variances on any line item expenses for the month of May or year to date for that matter. Year to date, our activity has been a negative $10.2 million. That includes the redesignation we did back in July. And our variance to budget year to date is about $2.8 million. Moving on to bond activity, our bond expenses for the month were about $44,000. A little piece of it went to the website redesign and replatform line, and the rest of it went to the employee contribution system. We've used up the tranche of money that the website redesign was included in. We still have money left, as you can see, a total of $944,000 available in the fund. So we're using the funds that are available in the employee contribution system for our bond money usage. Year to date, the bond money used has been $459,000. Year to date, the variance is a negative $39,000. So we're going to be pretty close to that by year end. But like I've said before, even if it is negative, we still have bond funds available to use. For our contribution activity, our net activity for the month of May was a negative $51.1 million. That did result in a negative $4.6 million variance. And as we've typically seen, that was because of a negative variance for benefits that were paid, which were $52.3 million this month. That was for 5 weeks of reimbursement to AFLAC, so that's why it looks a little higher than it usually does. But we are seeing the typical increase this time of year that we've seen in prior years. In terms of a weekly average for benefits paid, that was $10.5 million. That is an increase over the prior month, which was $10.1 million. In terms of revenue that was coming in, we got $3.2 million of revenue. Contribution revenue, including fund recovery, was $1.3 million. And that was a positive variance for the month that somewhat offset the negative variance of the benefits paid. And our investment income was $1.9 million, which was pretty close to budget, actually. So year to date, we'll be pretty close to what we budgeted for investment income. Year to date, our activity is $25.4 million. We do have a negative $25.9 million variance. And again, that's due to the benefits paid being higher than what we budgeted over a year ago for the reasons that we've discussed in prior meetings. Our fund balance as of the end of May is over $611 million. So it's in a good place. Our balance sheet or statement of fiduciary position still pretty stable compared to last month. Total assets were over $619 million. The short-term investment fund is just under $594 million, still the largest asset on the books. $4.7 million of money available in the operating fund to use for operations. Liabilities which is the bond money we owe, is $11.2 million. You're going to see that decrease a little bit next month as we make our annual payments for the bonds. In terms of where we think we're going to be at the end of the fiscal year, i.e. a few days from now, we think the net change in the operating account is going to be a negative $11.8 million. Again, that includes the redesignation. We expect to have a positive variance to budget of $2.6 million. The largest drivers of that continues to be payroll related because of positions that were started late. We had a positive pension overhead rate for the entire year, and the pay increases were not all exclusively paid in fiscal year 26 like we have budgeted. Some of those increases will be paid, will be retroactively paid in the beginning of fiscal year 2027. So that's why the positive variance there. And like I mentioned before, the plan is to carry that money forward into next year's budget. So we have the money available to pay for the retroactive increases because they've already been budgeted and approved for. So we'll make sure we'll have the money next fiscal year for them. For the contribution projection, we're projecting the net change in the balance to be a negative $14.1 million. That is a 26.4 negative variance to budget. And again, that is because of the higher benefits that we're paying that we've been seeing consistently over the past few months. So that is, I don't know why my camera was off. I'm sorry about that. But that's where we were for the month of May and year to date for May, and where we think we'll be at the end of this fiscal year. Again, I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
I just have one observation. I think the new presentation looks very clean and succinct. So congrats on that. There's obviously less information. So I wonder, right, because before we had many line items, and so I wonder if you could just briefly describe what you did to kind of boil down all of that information into that handful of very brief but helpful slides.
So the goal is to point out the significant items that are happening in terms of financial activity. There's obviously like a lot of lines on the operating income statement. We've never gone over the items line by line in terms of what's needed. So the goal was to say, hey, these are the high points, what the committee should be focusing on and paying attention. If there's ever anything that you see in the financials, because you still got the financial statements and you can review them. And if you have any specific questions on any line items on the financials, I'm certainly more than happy to go over them with this forum, in this forum with the committee. But the goal is just to hit the high items that we should be looking at. And so that was the goal.
All right, thanks. No, I think it's a nice improvement.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I'm just appreciative of always of your detailed information. So I have no questions. Thanks, Dave.
Oh, you're welcome, Melissa, and thank you.
So if there's no further discussion from committee members, I'll just close in saying that I think it's great that you've been presenting information and you're, looking at different ways to present it so that it can be synthesized by not only the committee, but any outside parties who wish to evaluate it. So I think when we look at these, when we see the presentation with the broader board, if they have any feedback, we can incorporate that as well. So I appreciate it. And I know this goes without saying, but to Mike's point, if we ever wanted to kind of see the additional data or anything like that, we can always request it either through this mechanism or offline as well.
Sure, and just to point out, the committee and the board always get those detailed financial statements in advance of the meetings, as spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are very difficult to meet the YCAG standards, and Dave has always just sort of highlighted certain pieces. So, if you have suggestions of other information that you'd like to see in the presentation, or if there's any other suggestions you have about ways to present, we would love to get that feedback. It's definitely a work in progress to make sure we're providing what you need and what the public might be interested in, while also making sure that we're compliant with the federal laws.
No, I appreciate that, Erin. My comments were more, I think more just a general statement that it's always great to refine our reporting, but we're not losing any transparency in that process. So I just felt like it was worth kind of stating that openly, that the transparency and the granularity is still available for review in lots of different forums. But I appreciate that. So that brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there any old business that anybody would like to discuss? No. All right. Any new business? Not seeing any. All right. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a
Move
motion
to
to adjourn.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or oppositions? No. All right. So very brief meeting this morning. I appreciate everybody for joining us. The motion carries, and we will adjourn the meeting this morning at 9:22. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.